India Legal presents Courts Roundup.
Hello, I'm Hishe and you're watching Courts Roundup. In this program, we bring you the latest legal news and details of court proceedings. And before we begin, here's the headlines. Supreme Court slams Madhya Pradesh government for delay in filing SLP, says revamp the legal department, slaps cost of 35,000 for filing delay. Riya Chakraborty files a reply in Bombay High Court against Sushant Singh Rajput's sisters' plea to quash FIR against them. Riya held that Sushant died after being administered illegally prescribed medicines. Kerala High Court dismisses IAS officer Shiva Shankar's anticipatory bail application moved in gold smuggling case, says Shiv Shankar was in contact with the prime accused. In the alleged sale of PG medical seats case, Madras High Court orders inquiry in probable conspiracy between Director of Medical Education and colleges.
India Legal presents Courts Roundup.
The state of Madhya Pradesh continues to do the same thing again and again, and the conduct seems to be incorrigible. The Supreme Court remarked while dismissing a special leave petition filed by the state with a delay of 588 days. In the Supreme Court, Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul-led bench directed the Chief Secretary of the state of Madhya Pradesh to look into the aspect of revamping the legal department. It appears that the department is unable to file appeals within any reasonable period of time, much less within limitation, the court said. The court observed thus after it noted that the law department took about 17 months' time to decide whether the SLP had to be filed or not. The court imposed a 35,000 rupees cost on the state and also cautioned the Deputy Advocate General that for any successive matters of this kind, the cost will keep on going up. The amount to be recovered from the officer or officers responsible for the delay in filing and sitting on the files and certificates of recovery of the said amount to be filed in this court within the said period of time, the court added. Recently, while dismissing a special leave petition filed by the state of Madhya Pradesh with a delay of 663 days, the Supreme Court had passed a detailed order criticizing the government authorities of filing delay SLPs. The Supreme Court has issued notice to the Telugu Desam Party and the state of Andhra Pradesh on a plea challenging the construction of the party state head office at Mangalagiri in violation of environmental norms. The bench of Justices R.F. Nariman, Naveen Sinha and Krishna Murari was hearing YSR Congress Party MLA Allah Ramakrishna Reddy's SLP against the July 23rd judgment of the Andhra Pradesh High Court, whereby it is contended that the High Court disposed the writ petition filed by a petitioner herein in haste without granting any relief on wrong application of law and facts. The prime issue under consideration before the Apex Court is that whether the High Court is correct in disposing the PIL filed by the petitioner without passing any direction to the respondent's state to take corrective measures against their action, despite state had admitted that the land alienated or leased by the state with impugned order in prohibition for transfer or lease. It is argued that the High Court had ignored the aspect that the state was held for contempt of violating the interim order passed by the same court in the writ petition. Though the said order is on record in the PIL filed by the petitioner, the High Court has failed to look into the conduct of the state while disposing of the writ petition by leaving the fate of the cause or case to the state to correct its own wrongs. Further, it is advanced that top court held that it is the duty of the state to keep in mind both Arts 48A and 51A and understand their scope and purposes of fundamental rights while enacting legislation both by the Parliament and state legislatures. And we are now joined by Advocate Divyanshi for more update on this.
The Supreme Court has issued notice to Telangana Desam Party and the state of Andhra Pradesh. The petition has challenged the construction of the party head office, violating some environmental norms. It is argued that the state had failed to comply with the observations of the Supreme Court, and High Court has created a gross error by not considering the settled principles of the top court. It is prayed in the petition that the methods of proceedings conducted by High Court in the PIL filed by petitioner is perverse and same needs to be set aside, else it will set a dangerous precedent for adjudicating the PIL.
Thank you, Divyanshi, for the update. Moving on. The Supreme Court declined to interfere with the September 1st order of the Delhi High Court granting bail to Pinch Tor activist Divangana Kalita in a case filed against her related to the Delhi riots. The bench of Justices Ashok Bhushan, R. Subhash Reddy and M.R. Shah refused to entertain the state's appeal. Additional Solicitor General S.V. Raju, appearing for State of NCT Delhi, argued that Kalita is an influential person and that she could tamper evidence in the case. Despite the ASG's protestation, the court refused to interfere with the bail order. Divangana Kalita is an accused in as many as 4 FIRs pertaining to the protest against the Citizenship Amendment Act and the Delhi riots. In June 2020, Kalita's bail plea in the present case was rejected by the trial court. In her appeal before the Delhi High Court, Kalita had argued that there was no evidence to show her participation in rioting or violence and that she was only protesting against the CAA. It was pointed out that Kalita neither featured in any of the CCTV footage collected by Delhi police nor was her name taken by the co-accused Shahrukh in his statement. In response, Delhi police had maintained that the demonstration in which Kalita participated and the violence were part of the conspiracy to lower the country's image, where President of United States Donald Trump was visiting India. The High Court eventually held that Kalita had satisfied the triple test for releasing a person on bail. The Supreme Court has directed all states to provide dry ration to sex workers in adequate amounts and uniformly. It asked them to seek help from the National AIDS Control Organization and legal services authorities in identifying them for providing succor during the pandemic. A bench of Justice L. Nageshwar Rao, Hemant Gupta and Ajay Rastogi has passed this order. The Supreme Court has directed states to follow the standard operating procedure by the NACO and that asked the government to file compliance reports within 4 weeks. Advocate Pukhrambam Ramesh Kumar for Manipur submitted that the NACO has given the data. The bench said, "You're not the only state with this issue. All northeastern states rely upon the central government for funds right to them." The court had earlier directed all states and union territories to provide dry ration to all sex workers as identified by the National AIDS Control Organization and district legal authorities without insisting on ration card or any other identifying proof in the wake of the hardship faced by them due to the pandemic. The court was hearing the plea filed by Darbar Mahila Samavay Committee seeking basic necessities and ration to sex workers amid the pandemic situation without insisting in identifying proof. The plea also sought a direction to the State Labour Department and Organized Worker Social Security Board to register sex workers and provide the registered sex workers the social welfare measures that all unorganized workers are entitled to. Rhea Chakraborty has filed her reply before the Bombay High Court in the plea filed by Sushant Singh Rajput's sisters seeking quashing of FIR registered against them and alleged that since the late actor died 5 days after obtaining oral prescription from sister Priyanka and her friend Dr. Tarun Kumar, it is imperative that the action of petitioners are investigated as well. Rhea Chakraborty has filed a reply in the Bombay High Court highlighting that actor Sushant Singh Rajput died days after he obtained a prescription from medicines from his sister Priyanka Singh, who were prescribed by Dr. Tarun Kumar. As such, Chakraborty has called for the dismissal of the plea preferred by Priyanka and Meetu Singh, both Rajput's sister, to quash the FIR filed against them and Dr. Kumar in relation with the unnatural death of Sushant Singh Rajput. The FIR was filed on a complaint by Chakraborty. In her reply, Rhea Chakraborty accuses Priyanka and Meetu Singh, along with Dr. Kumar, for allegedly conspiring to obtain false prescription to administer certain drugs to Sushant Singh Rajput, including those mentioned in Narcotics Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act. Chakraborty has made detailed submission on her relationship with Rajput and her strained dynamics with his family. She goes on to submit that Rajput had been diagnosed and was receiving treatment for bipolar disorder with her support. On June 8, however, it is submitted that Chakraborty came to know that Priyanka Singh had given a list of medications for Rajput, which were not earlier prescribed by the doctor he had consulted. Chakraborty adds that she told Rajput not to consume this medication, more so given that his sister has no medical qualifications. Days later, on June 14, Rajput passed away. She goes on to raise concern that the medication prescribed to Rajput days before his death were prescribed by Dr. Tarun Kumar, even though there was no consultation as mandated by law. Chakraborty submits in her reply that the actions of Priyanka, Meetu and Dr. Kumar should be investigated to find out how they could provide Sushant Singh Rajput with bogus and unlawful prescriptions. Chakraborty has submitted that the FIR registered is not in contravention of Supreme Court's direction that the Central Bureau of Investigation should investigate all cases pertaining to the death of late Sushant Singh. Chakraborty also notes that she has been facing anger and hate since the demise of Sushant Singh on account of Rajput's sisters. In view of this submission, Chakraborty has urged that the High Court should not quash the FIR and that it should dismiss the petition against the FIR with cost. Bureau Report. And the Bombay High Court has upheld the life sentence of a 27-year-old man for raping a 3-year-old girl in September 2014. The division bench of Justice Sambhaji Shivaji Sinde and Justice M. Subhash Karnik dismissed an appeal by Sudham Shelke against a January 18, 2016 order passed by the additional session judge in Nasik. The FIR was registered by grandmother of the victim. The victim was about 3 years and 8 months of age on the date of the incident. Complainant was residing along with her husband, son, daughter-in-law and the victim. The session judge framed the charge on November 13. The accused pleaded not guilty. In the trial, the prosecution examined 11 witnesses. The accused was convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment. The court also found no merit in Selke's submission that his complicity in the crime could be ruled out. Since then, she had not sustained any injuries during the assault. He maintained that she should have suffered some injuries, especially because the girl was just 3. For the delay in lodging of the FIR, the court cited the Apex Court judgment in Punjab versus Gurmeet Singh, where the Apex Court had observed that in sexual offences, delay in the lodging of the FIR can be due to the variety of reasons, particularly the reluctance of the prosecutrix or her family members to go to the police and complain about the incident. Such delay would not matter and is not fatal. While giving this verdict, the court said in such cases, complete penetration is not possible, especially when a perpetrator is a grown-up man. Even slight penetration is sufficient to attract rape charges. expressing serious concern over the manner in which admissions are being granted in postgraduate medical courses, especially in self-financing colleges. The Madras High Court has ordered an inquiry into the conspiracy, if any, between the officials of the Directorate of Medical Education and the self-financing colleges. The single bench of Justice N. Anand Venkatesh has directed the Director General of Police, Tamil Nadu, to immediately allot the matter to the CBCID, which shall consist of a team headed by an officer not below the rank of an assistant commissioner. The scope of inquiry shall be as follows: whether there was any conspiracy between the officials of the Directorate of Medical Education and the self-financing colleges in filling up the stray vacancies. The amount received from each candidate who was admitted by the self-financing colleges on August 31st, 2020, deadline for conducting the mop-up counselling for management quota. Any other matter that unfolds during investigation in this regard, the order comes after the bench noted that private colleges had granted admissions to undeserving candidates who otherwise would not have secured a seat through regular counselling, that too for some important clinical courses. Seemingly, these admissions were granted on the basis of a final list and that was handed over to them by a selection committee of the Directorate of Medical Education. The Kerala High Court has dismissed Shiv Shankar's anticipatory bail application moved in relation to the gold smuggling investigation. A bench of Justice Ashok Menon pronounced orders today in the two applications moved by M. Shiv Shankar. M. Shiv Shankar, suspended Principal Secretary of the Kerala Chief Minister, moved the court apprehending arrest in connection with investigation launched into the gold smuggling case by the Department of Customs and the Enforcement Directorate. The order followed heated exchange between the Customs and the Enforcement Directorate and the counsel for M. Shiv Shankar on Friday. Shiv Shankar has been at the center of a political storm after his purported links to gold smuggling case. Accused Swapna Suresh came to be known. Suresh is alleged to have been part of a group accused of smuggling gold through diplomatic channel. She is a former employee at the UAE consulate Thiruvananthapuram. Shiv Shankar has maintained he was acquainted with her during her stint at the UAE consulate and that he interacted with her in his own official capacity. Until the news report about the gold smuggling case appeared, he had no knowledge that Suresh was involved in gold smuggling, he had stated. Shiv Shankar first filed an application for anticipatory bail apprehending arrest in investigation launched against him by the ED. Later on 19th of October, after some high drama, he approached the High Court and sought protection from arrest in respect of the investigation launched by the Department of Customs. Advocate Deepika Singh Rajwat has filed an anticipatory bail application before the Court of Sessions in Jammu in connection to the FIR registered against her over her tweet on the occasion of Navratri. The matter is likely to be heard today by Judge Sanjeev Gupta, and the case concerned a FIR registered against her at the Gandhinagar police station in Jammu for allegedly hurting religious sentiments of a community in her tweet on Navratri. On October 19, Rajwat had tweeted a cartoon contrasting women's safety with Devi Pujan offered on Navratri with a caption, "Irony." The picture juxtaposed two scenes. In one scene, a man touching feet of a female Hindu deity during the 9-day Hindu festival of Navratri. In the other scene, with the header, other days, a man is aggressively holding both the legs of a woman. She has now been booked under Section 505, 294 and 295A of the IPC. Rajwat has stated that she posted the said tweet with an objective to raise voice against increasing rape cases in India and condemn people who bring atrocities on women. Thereafter, Rajwat made several tweets alleging that she was being threatened by the public and was not feeling safe anymore. She also alleged that a mob has assembled outside her residence and raised slogans against her. In a significant comment, the Uttarakhand High Court has said that criticizing government can never be sedition. The court has called for CBI probe into corruption allegation against CM Trivendra Rawat. It would be appropriate to unfold the truth. Therefore, while allowing the petition, this court proposes for investigation also, the court said.
The Uttarakhand High Court has called for a Central Bureau of Investigation probe into allegation of corruption levelled against the state's Chief Minister Trivendra Singh Rawat. While doing so, the court allowed a plea filed by journalist Umesh Sharma to quash an FIR filed against him this year for publishing a video containing these allegations. In a video released in June this year, Sharma had alleged that an amount of 25 lakh rupees was paid as bribe to Chief Minister Trivendra Singh Rawat by one Amritesh Singh Chauhan for his appointment as chairman of the Gau Seva Ayog, Jharkhand. Rawat was the BJP states in charge of Jharkhand at the time, CISA 2016. This amount was alleged to have been deposited into various bank accounts, including those of Dr. Harendra Singh Rawat and his wife Savita Rawat. In his June 2020 video, Sharma asserted that Savita Rawat was Trivendra Singh's sister, making Dr. Harendra Singh Rawat his brother-in-law. On 31st July, Dr. Rawat filed a right to information RTI application seeking the status of his communication request. On that same day, FIR was lodged against Sharma at Dehradun police station based on the 30th July report. The FIR listed various offences against Umesh Sharma for making corruption allegation tying Dr. H.S. Rawat and Savita Rawat to Chief Minister Trivendra Singh Rawat in his video. Sharma was accused of cheating, forgery, conspiracy and allied offences. Finding that none of these offences are prima facie made out against Sharma, the High Court has now quashed this FIR. In the course of its judgment, the court also opined that there appeared to be malafide intent motivating the case, given the speed at which it was filed against Sharma, coupled with the facts that the allegation level in the FIR were within the notice of state as well as the informant much earlier in the year 2019. Notably, the court took critical note that similar allegations of conspiracy had been levelled in the latest FIR, which was not permissible in law, the judge held. The judge adding section 124A IPC in the instant case manifest that it has been an attempt of the state to muzzle the voice of criticism, to muffle complaint or dissent. It can never be allowed. The law does not permit it. The court opened that there were certain further issues lingering even if the 2020 FIR against Sharma had been quashed. In the course of the judgment, the court also took critical note that the state had sought to add sedition as a charge against Sharma. It said that criticizing government can never be sedition. The High Court pointed out that as per the Supreme Court's verdict in Kedarnath case, an activity would not be seditious unless it tends to create disorder or disturbance of public peace or involve violence. Bureau Report.
That's it for Courts Roundup today. Thank you for tuning in. Keep watching APN for more updates from around the nation.
India Legal presents Courts Roundup.